we've changed the checkout facilities, so we've now got the facility that effectively you can order and pay for the car completely online. Is a experience, I guess, that even if we were looking back 12 months ago, we would have said, "Wow, I can't." Is that ever going to happen? And clearly, we've seen the likes of Tesla clearly trying to reinvent that part of the retail model, but to see that now being adopted in the main market is very interesting.
Still want to go into dealerships, but it does create a challenge for traditional salespeople, doesn't it? They have to deal with these people who come in, or consumers who come in having done the research, like you've just mentioned. They're not quite ready to press the button online, but they've had a lot of that dealership experience and the sales experience in front of their laptop or in front of their phone.
Sure.
When you come to buy your next car, how will you expect them to pick up that process as soon as you walk through the door? Have you got certain expectations, or?
But I think that's exactly it, isn't it? It's about understanding the whole customer journey up to the point that they walked into the dealership, and even being as smart as, how do you know that person has just walked onto the site, and you can immediately match, because actually we can harness the mobile phone data to understand actually. It's Warren that's come to site.
Yep.
Actually, I know exactly what he's looking for. And I guess the propensity to buy at that moment in time, I think is clearly a lot higher. So the traditional, visiting the dealership 3, 4, 5 times, test drive, go away, think about it, come back the next week, agree the commercials, come back again, pick the car up.
Yep.
The cycle's a lot quicker now. Where I think people are prepared to come to site, place the order, and literally want the car inside hours, if not days.
Hello and welcome back to the Armchair Show, where we're joined today by Warren from Infinity. How are you doing, Warren?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, not too bad journey for you this morning. Relatively close, aren't you?
I'm about 30 miles away, so it's good to be back in the car, hacking around the country lanes.
Excellent.
In beautiful sunshine.
It's just nice to get out, isn't it, at the moment?
Very much.
Definitely. Can you tell us a little bit about Infinity?
So Infinity is a call intelligence software as a service company. We were founded 11 years ago. We were spun out of a digital marketing agency. We took some private equity investment sort of 4 years ago to really accelerate the growth of the business, both in terms of the product and services that we offer to clients, but also the verticals that we work across and the markets that we work in as well. My role there is CEO as of June the 1st.
Wow, okay, so relatively recently then in that case.
Yeah, I've been with the business for 4.5 years.
Yep.
Started out in a finance and operation role, moved to owning the commercial teams, and now I'm responsible for all teams, including product and development as well.
Excellent. And it wasn't always like this. I'm going to have to mention this now because we were talking about it in the break. But obviously, you had a very different start to your career, didn't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no. I guess as I trained as an accountant, that was my formal training.
Yep.
But I pretty quickly decided that I didn't see my future necessarily in accounting. So I joined a television facilities business.
Yep.
I was there for 8 years, and then I went to the BBC for 3 years, which was fantastic. I worked for Studio Works, which runs television studios at Wood Lane, BBC Elstree, which is where they film EastEnders. Yep. So yes, I've appeared on a couple of television shows purely in the background. Yeah. Never a speaking part.
And now you're in front of the camera. It's
there we go.
Change. What was your route into the automotive sector?
I guess obviously when I joined Infinity, we have a wide range of clients. Automotive is one of our primary verticals that we focus on at Infinity. We have a range of clients, including a number of franchise dealerships through to independent dealers, plus a couple of the OEMs. So I guess that's really where my experience of automotive has come from. But I guess I go back to even when I first started out in accountancy. We audited a number of automotive dealerships.
Yep.
So I got to understand terminology such as consignment stock, which doesn't exist in any other business, frankly, other than automotive. So, and you get to understand discount structures and kickbacks that the OEMs offer based on sales volumes and such like. And
a bit of a car fan yourself as well?
Very much a car fan, absolutely.
What do you drive?
Loyal to one brand, sadly. Can't tear myself away from BMW. So,
what's the reason for that, just out of interest? I drive an Audi. Just
okay. I've been into an Audi dealership a couple of times, and just stop short of swapping. But I'm tempted this time to drop the BMW brand and move across to Porsche. It's just been the lifelong a lifelong dream. So it feels like it's about time.
It was actually coffee that did it for me with Audi, because I very nearly bought a BMW, but I went and test drove an A5, and after the test drive, they gave me a coffee with A5 sprinkled in chocolate.
Oh, okay.
And anyone who knows me knows I love coffee, and I just saw that and thought, I'm having this car.
It's done.
That's it,
It's destiny.
Yep. So BMW lost out there. They need to up their coffee game. But what do you love about this industry? What is it about the industry that you love the most?
I guess for me, it's an item that everybody fundamentally wants, and therefore clearly you have a diverse range, of manufacturers and models. I guess for me, the pace of change that's coming through the market is, super interesting as we're seeing the growth of electric vehicles coming into the market. The pressure on diesel vehicles and how businesses are reinventing what that looks like. And I guess, as some of the discussion earlier on, the world's getting a smaller place. So the concept of just buying from the local garage is, very much a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And for me, what's interesting is the transformation through the market and the opportunities that creates.
Yeah. Do you think before 2020, do you think the industry had changed significantly up to this point, and again over a shorter period of time, or do you think it's been a gradual change?
I guess it's been a gradual change, but even then you're seeing different models evolve. I guess if we're looking at Mercedes, for example, obviously we've seen them. Start to own more of the dealerships for themselves.
Yep.
And end up with a mixed model between owned and franchise dealers, for example. So I think the pace of change has been there. I think it's clearly intensified in certainly more recent times.
Yeah. And going back to your personal choice of cars, what is it that's pulling you to Porsche? Is it just the cars, or is there something about that, the brand or the dealership experience that interests you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very much about an experience thing from my point of view. It's just, interesting, spending time here today. And, again, it's an experience spending time here today.
Yeah.
But for me, it's about that whole experience when you go into the dealership of the welcome, to the breakout space, to the coffee, to the interaction and the understanding of the customer and why they're here. And for me, that's first class. And so I still very much enjoy that physical experience in a motor dealership.
So it sounds like you'd go down that very traditional route of in person.
It's definitely changed, right? As I described, I'm in the market for a new car, and for me, actually, what I've done is just started recording my personal journey, because it's that classic. I've looked at the OEM sites.
Yep.
You looked at several franchise dealer sites. I've watched the videos on YouTube. I've watched others review. So it's really is looking at that whole digital journey and how that's transformed. Because clearly the concept of look at a car online, phone up, book a test drive, go to site, is quite different now than it was necessarily even just last year.
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess a big part of that this year is that the need to do some remote selling and this kind of contactless sales experience. What's your opinion on contactless car sales?
I mean, it's. I guess it's mad. Just reading. I guess for Pendragon, for example, of just seeing. Okay, we've changed the checkout facilities, so we've now got the facility that effectively you can order and pay for the car completely online. Is an experience, I guess, that even if we were looking back 12 months ago, we would have said, "Wow, I can't." Is that ever going to happen? And clearly, we've seen the likes of Tesla clearly trying to reinvent that part of the retail model, but to see that now being adopted in the main market is very interesting.
I still can't imagine doing that, putting a car into a shopping basket and clicking checkout and put your PayPal details in.
I guess you get some good loyalty points on your credit card for that.
That's true, actually. Yeah, maybe I should in that case.
Probably haven't got enough credit limit, but
no, smash it, wouldn't it? But I personally can't get my head around that, and I suppose that the worry with that is that there's lots of people like me potentially who still want that. Well, it's not a worry actually. It's a great thing that we still want to go into dealerships, but it does create a challenge for traditional salespeople, doesn't it? They have to deal with these people who come in, or consumers who come in having done the research, like you've just mentioned. They're not quite ready to press the button online, but they've had a lot of that dealership experience and the sales experience in front of their laptop or in front of their phone.
Sure.
When you come to buy your next car, how will you expect them to pick up that process as soon as you walk through the door? Have you got certain expectations, or? But
I think that's exactly it, isn't it? It's about understanding the whole customer journey up to the point that they walked into the dealership, and even being as smart as, how do you know that that person has just walked onto the site and you can immediately match? Because actually we can, we can harness the mobile phone data to understand actually, it's Warren that's come to site.
Yep.
Actually, I know exactly what he's looking for. And I guess the propensity to buy at that moment in time, I think is clearly a lot higher. So the traditional, visiting the dealership 3, 4, 5 times, test drive, go away, think about it, come back the next week, agree the commercials, come back again, pick the car up.
Yep.
The cycle's a lot quicker now. Where I think people are prepared to come to site, place the order, and literally want the car inside hours, if not days.
Yeah. Does that mean there's no right way to buy a car these days?
I guess it comes down to individual choice.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's very much doing that, that research online with the purchase still happening offline. I guess for others, and it depends on the market. I guess that's why if we look at, businesses such as, the car store, where clearly you've got a big physical estate with a lot of vehicles on site, then it's fantastic because digital gives you a good experience. And whilst it's 3-dimensional, it's not quite the same still as the touch and feel of being able to open the door, sit in the seat, see what it looks like, really get a sense of the colour.
Yep.
It's no surprise to see businesses such as the car store really looking at expanding the estate, and it's just interesting them looking at saying, okay, actually is car store the right brand for us, or do we actually need to change the brand identity for that particular business? Yeah,
I mean, that takes us over to marketing, doesn't it? We speak quite a lot about sales on the podcast, but I think it's nice to look at the marketing challenges as well. I think one of the biggest challenges, and funny enough, we were having a chat about this earlier, weren't we, about the tools that you can invest in now, and you can spend a lot of money, or you can spend not very much money at all. For a dealership, what kind of marketing technology do they need at the base level to deal with the current climate?
I guess the obvious one is starting out with the CRM. So what a dealer is looking for. We're looking for repeat business. We're looking for the opportunity for after sales, for extended finance and insurance products. So without a CRM, then it's going to be very difficult. A CRM in itself is a database. So without the ability to manipulate that database, then it's powerless. So you would definitely need to consider some form of dealer management system, and certainly a strong email tool in terms of that networking. You clearly need some great analytics across the website to understand the visitors coming to the site, the patterns in terms of the journey and the behaviour on site, where the call to actions are and what's working. And I guess that Infinity then sits in the stack in the sense of, okay, great, we've talked a lot about the research online and the purchase offline. That offline comes in many number of forms. One of the most traditional, certainly in automotive, is that telephone call.
Yes.
Placed into the dealer, whether that's to ask questions, to book the test drive. And I guess that's where Infinity comes in being able to join the two dots up between that online journey and that offline telephone call.
Yeah, and I think marketing has a big role to play, doesn't it? Also in the personalisation of that kind of buying journey. What's your opinion on how that fits into the... Again, go back to marketing tech. There's an awful lot you can learn about consumers. Obviously, you have to be careful with GDPR, etc. But what's the first steps on that for perhaps for a business that hasn't fully transformed digitally yet?
I guess really trying to understand the audience, I think, is important. Particularly, I guess, as more of the research has been done online. The very traditional model is, we start out with the models at the top, and then we go into a set of features. But I guess that very much describes the how. And I guess the big transformation that we need is getting back to the why of, okay, so, I've got a family with 2 boys. Actually, we go water skiing, so I need to be able to tow. I need a car that's capable of towing. And so, therefore, actually, it's about understanding, okay, I'm looking for a family vehicle, but it clearly needs to be sporty and performance-based. And so, actually, I need to start with the why would I buy it, rather than the how in terms of the features and that car has. And so, for me, that's the big transformation of, okay, rather than just selling a suite of products and services and allowing or asking the consumers and buyers to go in and make their own decisions, actually is trying to resonate with the consumer from the at the early stage and then present the solution back to them. Yeah,
it's not easy, is it? It's quite overwhelming, I think, for a lot of people.
Absolutely, and I think it's tough, and I think those that get it right will clearly succeed. And for me, that's whilst these are tough times, they're interesting times because, for me, disruption creates opportunities, and those businesses that are are brave will succeed in this market. Others that are slow and hesitate, I think, will struggle in these times, and I think we'll see some businesses go on to be great successes. But in a steady state market would have been happy at 5-10% growth, but could easily see themselves jump significantly up or down league tables as a result.
Definitely. Can you think of any disruptors that come to mind? Not necessarily in this industry, but that have impressed you.
It's one of the things that we look at as a business in terms of, there's the very obvious businesses. Let's pick Uber. It's a taxi business that doesn't own any cars or employ any drivers, in theory. So it's clearly not, right? It's an app business, and that's what they've created. And for me, that's what's super interesting now, is to see, okay, actually, I don't need. I'm the enabler of a product or a service, and for me, that's where the disruption is coming. Is who's creating this enablement technology, because you don't actually need to own the production chain from end to end.
No. That does excite me as well. It's those sort of companies that really push things forward, and obviously you guys are doing that yourselves. What's next for Infinity?
So for us, it's very much about building out the call intelligence stack. So I guess for examples for us of products are conversation analytics. So fantastic, we've always been able to count calls. Clearly, we can drill down now into individual visitor journeys, back down to individual campaign and keyword level. But actually now we've got the technology to be able to transcribe calls, understand the sentiment of the calls, understand the outcome of the calls through voice transcription, through our advanced keyword spotting tools. We can create a complex set of rules. And therefore, actually, if I'm running a contact center for an automotive dealer, I'm the head of sales, actually I can see a report that says, okay, the feedback from today is I've had a number of inquiries for 5 Series BMWs because actually my call intelligence records tell me that that's the level of inquiries I've had. I can feed that back into the marketing team in terms of updating the PPC strategy tomorrow. The speed of the turnaround becomes a lot quicker. Yeah,
that's a genuine benefit there. Because I think quite often for when it comes to technology, it's not always that obvious straight away. When you say something like conversation analytics, I'd guess some people hear that and think, oh my God, what does that mean?
Yeah, and that's a challenge for us, I guess, is no one is short of data. There's mountains of data out there, and arguably businesses are drowning under the amount of data that's available to them in the CRM or from third parties. For us, it comes down to the data and the insights that are driven out of it. And for us, therefore, it's very much around, well, do we really, can we help customers, for example, to understand their own customer journeys? Where they land on the site, what the typical journey is across the site, over what sort of time periods, why do they call, what's the nature of the calls? Because all of a sudden, it's those insights that are valuable because they create the call to action that we're looking for that can assist our clients. So that's the big difference.
And are there certain metrics that they should be looking at? Are there certain KPIs they should be putting in place now? I mean, even if they perhaps haven't got the technology in place, like the stuff that you guys develop, if not quite ready for that yet, or they're in the process of implementing it or thinking about implementing it, what sort of what kind of KPIs rather would they be looking at?
I guess it's for us, we would say it's about asking yourself the very fundamental questions around any type of business, and it's the conversation we often start with for any client. How much would you spend to acquire a customer? We have the same conversation in our own business. A typical client for us would spend £18,000 to £20,000 per annum. So the very question we ask is, how much will we spend on marketing to acquire that customer? That's very different to we've got a big lawn care provider, for example. So they're providing services at $25 per session. They have a very different customer acquisition model. So understanding that for us is critical, because then it actually enables us to tailor and adapt our service to ensure that we're able to answer those fundamental questions of, so how much are you spending on marketing? What's the ROAS that you're seeing against that? And then that links into what's the average sale price? What's the average margin you're looking to calculate? And clearly that sits across all businesses as much as it is relevant to automotive, because it's clearly a high ticket price generally, certainly for consumers anyway.
It's universal, isn't it, these things, I suppose, but also so is the fact that I think as you've alluded to, there's a lot of data being collected, but it's not necessarily being used, is it? That's the problem.
No, and I think that's where we see, for us, the challenge is, there's obviously there's a few big tech giants in the space. So we have the Googles and Facebooks of the world in the space, and a lot of those are what we would describe as walled gardens, which is fantastic because they want you to stay within the walled garden. The challenge for us is about, okay, can we provide a green field where we're able to amalgamate the data out of those green fields? Can we integrate that into data management platforms? So if I'm sit here looking to run a digital campaign in the East Midlands region, targeting clients looking to buy Audi A3s, then actually I need to understand the audience that owns BMW 1 Series, so that actually I can be targeting that audience appropriately. Now the data's becoming super relevant.
Suddenly makes sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely, of course it does. But you need to be able to stitch the data together in order to provide those insights. It won't appear by itself.
No, definitely not. We're running out of time, I'm afraid,
No
Warren,
worries.
but it's been fantastic. Have you found the show today? Have you enjoyed the experience?
Yeah, really exciting. It's good. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Slightly different day's work, isn't it?
Absolutely, very different to a Zoom video call.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for going, Warren.
Thanks for your
We'll
time.
definitely have you on again, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Very good. Thanks very much.
And thank you for watching. If Warren has said anything today that's resonated with you, remember to subscribe and share the episode far and wide. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Armchair Marketing.